President Trump. They're scheduled to discuss tariffs and bring an end to the war. Is there any sense of how that conversation will go?
Well, Diane, the fact that this is the second time Netanyahu and Trump are meeting since the president took office, I think it just firstly shows how strong the relationship is between these two men. And there is a lot at stake, starting with the war in Gaza. Ceasefire talks are ongoing. We can imagine Netanyahu will be trying to get Trump's support for his side of the deal. Diane, also on tariffs, right now Israel faces a 17% tariff. That number is a shock to Israel's economy since the U.S. is Israel's largest trading partner. Now, Israel did try to get ahead of Trump's reciprocal tariffs, announced they were dropping all duties on American goods a day before those tariffs were announced, but the president still went ahead with the tariffs as planned. Diane, I think what's most important to note about all of this is that Netanyahu is the first world leader to meet with Trump since announcing his sweeping tariffs. And the whole world will be watching very closely to see if Trump is willing to negotiate. Diane.
All right, Maggie Rulli, thank you. Coming up, a second child is dead from the measles in Texas. What we're learning about the patient, plus what Health Secretary RFK Jr. is now saying about the measles vaccine.
The news never stops.
From Tampa, we are here tonight as Hurricane Milton has just made landfall.
The surge just keeps coming up.
Right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
We're in artillery position about 2 miles away from Gaza.
And ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
We're not far from where this rally took place, so just stick with us here.
Traveling with the president to the U.S.-Mexico border.
Here in London today.
Off the coast of Gaza.
Downtown Tel Aviv, rockets or missiles coming in.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii. Some areas are still smoldering.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines,
the ruins of Rafah.
From the FBI.
Reporting from Capitol Hill.
In western Portugal, outside of Mexico City.
In Iceland. Let's go.
Here in France.
The eclipse across America.
Just stunning.
Unbelievable.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
We're going to take you there.
You're streaming
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere because the news never stops.
Rock hard abs. That's what I think about when I think of Tracy Anderson. The A-list of A-list women are all trained by Tracy Anderson, one of the OG fitness influencers.
There's one report that said that you and Madonna had a bit of a falling out.
There's this intimidating factor.
When you're the best, you're the best. I'm just going to be really open with you right here. I don't know how this is going to come out. I've never really said this. Oh, gosh.
Tracy Anderson, fitness, fame, and Hollywood. Now streaming on Hulu.
Huddle up, Team GMA.
We're right here.
Oh, sorry.
We're right
I got
here.
excited.
GMA wants to know who's the best coach in your community, in your child's life, who's made such a huge difference, because we're on the lookout for.
Are you ready to find the best coaches across America?
GMA wants to know about the impact of a dedicated coach in your town. So scan this code. Nominate your favorite coach right now.
Let's honor the best coaches in America.
Thank you, Coach.
Welcome back to ABC News Live. First, the CDC is deploying another response team to Texas after a second child died from the measles outbreak there. The Texas Department of State Health Services says the unvaccinated 8-year-old girl was hospitalized after experiencing complications from the virus and had no underlying health issues. This comes as West Texas is reporting nearly 500 cases since the start of the outbreak in January. Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Tara Narula has the latest.
Amid a growing outbreak nationwide, news of a second child dying with measles in Texas as the state faces the worst outbreak in 30 years. The Texas Health Department confirming the child was school-aged, hospitalized, and passed away on Thursday from what the child's doctors described as measles pulmonary failure. The child was unvaccinated and had no underlying conditions. It comes after another unvaccinated child died of measles in Texas in February, the first measles death in the nation in a decade. Measles cases confirmed in at least 21 states, with 642 confirmed cases nationwide, about 3/4 of cases in Texas alone.
It is very hard to see these kids. You see them struggling to breathe. They don't want to eat or drink. They're dehydrated. They have high fever. They're miserable.
Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. attending the girl's funeral in Texas Sunday, posting on X, "I came to Gaines County, Texas today to comfort the Hildebrand family after the loss of their 8-year-old daughter, Daisy. adding, "The most effective way to prevent the spread of measles is the MMR vaccine." Kennedy has come under fire from many public health officials and experts for downplaying the seriousness of the measles outbreak in Texas and not pushing for widespread vaccination. He has previously said the MMR vaccine is the best way to prevent measles, but has stressed it's a personal choice. Influential Republican Senator Bill Cassidy, a doctor from Louisiana, urging, "Everyone should be vaccinated. There is no treatment for measles, no benefit to getting measles. Top health officials should say so unequivocally before another child dies."
Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Tara Narula, thank you. And health officials in Central California are confirming the deaths of 3 people from hantavirus. The rare but often fatal disease is contracted through rodent droppings and killed Gene Hackman's wife in February in New Mexico. Now officials say 3 people in Mammoth Lakes died of the virus in the past 2 months. It's unclear how they contracted the virus. Coming up, a March Madness storybook ending. The Yukon Huskies dominate South Carolina to win their 12th national championship. What superstar Paige Beckers is saying about the big win.
The news never stops. We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We appeared to be gunfire. The former president rushed off the stage.
Hurricane Helene ravaging the coastline of Florida.
It's moving really fast, screaming across the state.
And that's why ABC News Live never stops.
Taking you to the center of the story.
As news breaks live.
We hear the small arms fire around us.
We're right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
ABC News Live is there for you at the start of your day, all morning live.
ABC News Live, right there, as events unfold across the day. ABC News Live, breaking down the day's top stories.
Lyle and Eric Menendez, there is new evidence in this case.
ABC News Live Prime going there, wherever the story is.
Are you going to build it back up? And ABC News Live, lighting up the weekend.
With breaking news and all the latest pop headlines.
Happy Oscar Sunday.
A lot to watch for tonight.
ABC News Live.
Because the news never stops.
Now you can listen to a podcast version of Good Morning America, available free wherever you listen. Nightline, the stories that shape your world, that shape your life. Dramatic, stunning, empowering, jaw-dropping. The most powerful stories of our time. Nightline, on right after Kimmel and streaming on Hulu.
I'm ready for my life to change.
Give it your all. Good luck. Come out with the golden ticket.
Let's hear it. My goodness.
This show is for people that have the talent, have the dream, and they just need a chance.
Reporting from Pacific Palisades, California, I'm David Muir. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back to ABC News Live. First, the Yukon women's basketball team are national champions again. 9 years after their last national title, Yukon dominated defending champ South Carolina to win their 12th NCAA national championship. ABC's Will Reeve has the details.
And there's the buzzer. It's an even dozen for Gino Auriemma and Connecticut.
For the 12th time in program history, the Yukon Huskies are at the mountaintop of women's college basketball.
The final page in the book of Beckers.
Superstar Paige Beckers securing the one item missing from her impeccable resume, a national championship.
I can't even put into words what this journey has meant to me and the team, and to be able to come out on top. It's hard to find the words, but just a full state of gratitude for everything that's happened.
It was full-on dominance over the defending champions South Carolina, Yukon winning 82-59.
Beckers backdoor, pops it in.
Beckers had a pedestrian night by her lofty standards, scoring 17 points.
Here's Beckers. Her jumper is good.
The Huskies' offense ultimately driven by freshman Sarah Strong and senior Azzy Fudd, each pouring in 24 points to help Yukon pull away.
Azzy Fudd is on fire. Strong's three is good.
Strong scoring the most points ever by a freshman in the NCAA tournament.
I feel like we did a really good job just executing everything and staying together.
Fudd's family stealing the show with custom t-shirts, highlighting the toughness of the Final Four's most outstanding player.
We went through a lot of ups and downs as a team, so to be able to come out on top right now, it's speechless.
Legendary UConn head coach Gino Auriemma with a warm embrace of Beckers after her final collegiate game.
These players make me want to hang in there every day. It's been a long time since I've been that emotional when a player's walked off the court.
Beckers is expected to be the first overall pick in the WNBA draft, which is next week, but UConn will still have Sarah Strong, and AZ Fudd has another year of eligibility, so perhaps UConn goes on yet another title run, Diane.
A lot of stars to watch. Will Reeve, thank you. Coming up, we are minutes away from the opening bell. Global markets are taking another dive amid growing concerns over President Trump's tariffs. We will take you live to Wall Street next. Also ahead, the major decision from the White House on Medicare and Medicaid covering weight loss drugs. Plus, the growing troubles for Fyre Festival 2, what founder Billy McFarland's now saying about the event. Plus, what happened when our Aaron Katursky bought tickets.
Hey, good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Money. Are you ready? They are ready. Covering the biggest events in the country right now.
There's a lot going on here.
It's always a good time. That's what the show's about.
That's good.
Really good. Very good.
Coming in hot, Jimmy, coming in hot.
It's far from elementary.
Good morning, America.
I'm not going to try to strut like Michael or anything.
I have known George a long, long time.
Have you ever gotten him to dance?
Look at that face.
You don't just see it, you feel it.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
I'll be here.
I am here and so happy. I'm in. I'm in too.
I'm in.
That tells you something when Snoop Dogg's in. Michael, George, Lara, Ginger.
Wednesday night on ABC.
If you saw a college student being hazed to the extreme, what would you do? Here we go, rolling on the reluctant pledge.
I'm not drinking the toilet water.
If you don't drink this, I don't want to see you on campus.
Wait till you see what happens.
Don't drink that.
And why this everyday hero
You shouldn't be doing this.
was moved to tears.
Hi, ma'am.
I knew it.
Why did it touch you so much?
If that's my son, it's not right. It's just not right.
What would you do?
All new Wednesday night on ABC.
Okay, come on, let's go. This is a film about the friendship we share with our pets.
Yes.
I rescue cats for a living. I really do feel like we need each other.
Without them, I don't know where I would be. Love is love is love.
It was really nice to have this constant companion.
I'm sure they love me, but they can't love me more than I love them.
ABC News Live.
Because the news never stops.
This is an ABC News special report. Now reporting, David Muir.
Good morning on this Monday morning. We're coming on the air for opening bell on Wall Street and what is expected to be another brutal day of trading, perhaps. The stock markets in the U.S. and around the world obviously reacting to President Trump's tariff policy. Overnight futures signaling the Dow is facing roughly a 700-point loss, perhaps, in the opening minutes here on Wall Street. The Dow losing more than 2,000 points on Friday for just the fourth time in its history. That's after losing 1,700 points on Thursday. Close to about 4,000 points lost in just 2 days. You can see there on the opening bell down 1,200 points here. The NASDAQ and S&P 500 also looking at a tough day ahead. The NASDAQ entering a bear market officially on Friday after losses on Thursday and Friday of nearly 6% apiece. The S&P 500 dropping about 6% as well on Friday for its worst performance since the outbreak of the pandemic in March of 2020. It lost about 10% in 2 days. A lot of numbers to throw your way. But again, all eyes on the Dow here this morning. Markets in Asia and Europe already taking a nosedive. Hong Kong, South Korea, Japan, and China. European markets are down across the board, facing a 16th-month low. The London Stock Exchange has plunged to its lowest point in a year, seeing 5% wiped off its value. Let's put back up the numbers of the opening bell here on Wall Street just moments ago. The Dow opening up down 1,200 points, down about 3% on the opening bell. Let's get right to Whit Johnson on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Whit, obviously investors anxious again on this Monday, beginning a new week, and worried we're going to see today what we saw on Thursday and Friday.
Absolutely, David. The activity really picking up here on the floor moments after we heard the opening bell. And I spoke to a trader just a short time ago, and he said, look, there is fear and loathing across the markets here. He even described this as sort of a mini crash right now because of the lack of clarity that they're getting from the Trump administration, the anxiety, the uncertainty about what's going to happen next. Again, we're looking at these numbers here. The Dow down almost 1,200 points right now. The NASDAQ about 620, and the S&P 500 about 176, of course, where millions of Americans have their 401ks, their retirement savings. And part of the problem here is the way the administration has been downplaying the impact of the tariffs and the impact of this sell-off. We saw President Trump just this morning on social media insisting that the tariffs are bringing in billions of dollars every week into the United States. But again, if you ask most economists, they are saying that it will ultimately be American consumers who pay those higher prices on everyday goods. And we're seeing the reaction here. And it's not just what happened last week or today. The expectation is it could be a very difficult week ahead.
All right, Whit Johnson on the floor of the Stock Exchange. Whit, we appreciate it. Let's get right to Rebecca Jarvis, our Chief Business and Economics Correspondent. And Rebecca, you heard Whit there say a lack of clarity driving a lot of the concern among investors. And of course, Americans watching this worried about higher prices at the grocery store, the auto lot, appliances. And for those lucky enough to have a 401k, worried about the losses they've seen already in their retirement savings.
Certainly, David. And just to put all of this in context, when you're looking at those losses there on your screen, if you go back for the last 2 years, even after these losses, today the S&P 500 is still, that's what's in most 401ks, it's still up almost 36%, given the outsized returns that we have seen over the last years. But I do want to talk about what we are seeing on our screen right now. The Dow now down more than 3%. The risks of a long and intense trade war are rising. We've heard now from President Trump what the U.S. plan is on tariffs, but we're also getting the retaliation now from China. And it's not just tariffs. They're starting to restrict things, David, like rare earth materials, things that go into our U.S. military, into building out our artillery, our technology sector. So it's a bigger impact than just costs and tariffs.
The numbers getting worse as we've been on the air after the opening bell. Rebecca, thanks to you as well, down 1,216 points, 1,211, as you can see, fluctuating in these opening moments of the bell. Let's get right to Rachel Scott. She's live at the White House. And Rachel, the president signaling this morning he again will stay the course, telling Americans not to panic, which is easier said than done for people who have watched their retirement savings shrink in just the last couple of days, and now it looks to be another very painful day on Wall Street here.
It does, David, and no sign that the White House is changing the strategy or that the president is shifting his policies. He's confident that this will be winning strategy from the president. In fact, just moments before the opening bell, he did post on social media saying, "Don't be weak, don't be stupid, don't be a panican," he said. He also says that countries from all over the world have been reaching out to the United States, trying to make a deal. But his message to Americans, hang tough. He says this won't be easy, David.
Of course, Rachel, this comes after tens of thousands of Americans protested across the country to the economic policy and other decisions made so far by the Trump administration. And now we're seeing some investors on Wall Street, including a billionaire investor, a key supporter of Donald Trump, saying, stop with the tariffs. This is not what we voted for, essentially, was the message sent out in a plea over the weekend to try to prevent what we're seeing here this morning. Again, the Dow opening down 1,346 points. And we'll continue to monitor this throughout the day. Our coverage continues on ABC News Live, abcnews.com. And for many of you, Good Morning America continues. Your local news teams standing by as well. I'll be back with the entire team a little later today for World News Tonight. I'm David Muir in New York. We'll see you then. Have a good day.
And you're watching ABC News Live. Special coverage now of the stock markets mounting losses amid President Trump's escalating trade war. Investors are reacting after international markets tumbled overnight. We're now seeing the Dow down over 1,000 points at the open. Let's bring in business news reporter Alexis Christoforous. Alexis, what do you make of this after the losses we've seen over the past few weeks, the major losses we saw last week, and now the Dow down again over 1,000?
This is very quickly becoming a historic meltdown, the likes of which we have not seen since the Great Recession of 2008 and 2009. And it's really hard to find a place to hide right now. Not only are stocks down, oil is lower, Bitcoin is lower. Remember, Bitcoin rallied big on the hopes that President Trump would bring a golden age to the cryptocurrency world. So hard to find areas that are actually up in this down market. The S&P 500 very close to joining the NASDAQ now in bear market territory, meaning it would be down 20% from its recent high back in February. And now we have some of the most influential names on Wall Street coming out against these tariffs. Namely, I want to highlight Jamie Dimon. He's the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, now warning that these tariffs will not only affect growth and prices. He says he's worried about the economic alliances that have underpinned America's, quote, extraordinary standing in world affairs. Just a few months ago, he was actually backing these tariffs. Billionaire investor Bill Ackman, he runs a very successful hedge fund, calling for a 90-day pause with these tariffs, calling them, quote, a mistake. Now, in terms of President Trump's reaction to all this, he's out on social media today saying, don't be a panickin. That's a term he's coined for a new party based on weak and stupid people. And he is highlighting the fact that oil is lower, which he says will be good for people because it will mean lower gas prices. And again, just this morning, calling on Fed Chair Jerome Powell to lower interest rates. What this is really becoming, Diane, is an epic battle between Trump and Powell, the man he put in that position during his first term back in 2018.
And I want to bring in Moody's Analytics chief economist Mark Zandi, too, because, Mark, President Trump's top economic advisor says 50 countries have now reached out to negotiate over these tariffs. So what is it you think they want to negotiate, and how do you see that part of this playing out?
Who knows? It's hard to fathom how this is all going to play out. You got some folks in the administration talking about these tariffs being in place for a long time to come. Others saying that they're subject to negotiation. So which is right? I don't know. And either do investors, and that's why they're selling stocks at this point. So, I'm hopeful that, as markets continue to tank and wealth continues to evaporate and it becomes clear this is pushing the economy into the recession, that'll put enough pressure on lawmakers and policymakers to get it together and find a way forward and get these tariffs back down and end this global trade war. Because as long as the war continues, we're going to see a lot more red on our screens.
And I want to bring in our senior political correspondent, Rachel Scott, too, because, Rachel, one of the main issues that President Trump campaigned on was bringing prices down. So he's saying to hang tough. But what's his message in terms of that contrast, what he ran on and what he's doing right now?
Yeah, the president's message is simply trust him. That's what we've heard from the White House press secretary. She said repeatedly, trust this administration, trust this president, trust this White House. But the president also saying, hang tough. It will not be easy. We heard from him just before the opening bell saying, don't be weak, don't be stupid, don't be a panickin. And his words saying that's a new party based on weak and stupid people. The president was asked directly as he was making his way back here to the White House after a weekend golfing in Florida if there's any pain in the markets that he would be unwilling to bear. He called that a stupid question, saying that he doesn't want the markets to go down, but he also likened the economy to being a sick patient, saying that the tariffs could be a cure. The question now, what, if anything, can any of these countries do to try to offset some of these tariffs, as they are set to go in place in just a matter of about 40 to 72 hours or so. We know that the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will be here. He'll be meeting with President Trump at the White House. The two will be hosting a press conference in just a few hours. We also know that the president spoke with the Japanese Prime Minister earlier this morning as well. But it comes as Canada has fired back, as well as China imposing retaliatory tariffs against the United States and the policies. And meanwhile, you have the markets tumbling and Americans bracing for higher prices. And the administration has also said this is not a negotiation, it's a national emergency. So really some conflicting and mixed messages being sent to our allies and trading partners around the world, Diane.
And I want to go to our chief business correspondent, Rebecca Jarvis, because, Rebecca, I'm sure so many people are watching this right now thinking, okay, so what does this mean for me? So where are Americans going to see the biggest impact here?
Sure. Well, they will if these tariffs do take effect, and there's still some question about which ones ultimately will because the deadline is April 9th. We already know they're going to impact things like cars, the cost of cars. We've heard from some foreign automakers who are saying they're going to pause shipping their cars into the United States for the next month while they sift through what this is going to look like. And then you're going to see it really across the board in areas like pharmaceuticals, groceries, furniture, all these areas that come in from overseas and come to the U.S. will have the new tariff on them. And then it's up to the businesses to decide whether they pass that tariff off to consumers. They usually do. I also want to just point out the markets because right now we're looking at the stock market continuing to sell off. It's getting worse as the morning goes by. But there is some important context here for people who are looking at those 401ks. The last couple of weeks, the last couple of days, frankly, have been quite shocking and devastating when you look at it that way. When you zoom out and you do look at the last couple of years, what we've seen really over the last 5 years is outsized gains for the S&P 500. The S&P 500, even in the last 2 years, even after what we've seen in the last couple of days, is still up about 36%. So it's important to keep that consideration when you're thinking about your own portfolio. If you have a 401k, if you've been socking that money away, for the last couple of years, it's had outsized gains, and it is still higher in that context, even though looking at what we're seeing today is very difficult.
And I want to bring in our chief international correspondent, James Longman, because, James, this isn't just affecting U.S. markets. We've been seeing sell-offs globally. So what sticks out to you about the global markets now?
Yeah, this is like a bomb going off all around the world, Diane. Here in Europe, every single market opened down this morning. The London Stock Exchange, more than 5% down, still trading for the next couple of hours, so it may rally slightly. The Italian market, more than 7% down. The French and Germans, 5 and 6% respectively. So the Europeans are trying to figure out today, there's a European Trade Commission meeting happening right now to figure out what reciprocal tariffs they might be able to institute. And I'll give you one example. They're talking about bourbon whiskey from the United States coming into Europe. They might introduce a tariff on that. But there are European countries who are against that, namely Italy, France and Ireland, because they have huge alcohol and wine and spirit industries of their own. So you're seeing cracks in Europe because they don't want the US to then reciprocate to that reciprocation with what Donald Trump has said could be a 200% tariff on European wine. So you can see how a trade war can begin to escalate. And alcohol is a tip of the iceberg. You're talking steel, aluminum, pharmaceuticals, cars, the building blocks of international trade. That is what is at stake here. And as bad as it is in Europe, it is even worse in Asia. Every single Asian market today closed way, way down. The Hong Kong market lost 13% of its value today at one point. The Chinese market, the Japanese market. And it isn't just the business of this. It's not just the financials. It's the geopolitics as well. Because for years, these Asian countries have slowly been coming into the international market. Trade has opened them up. But if this continues, these countries may feel that the United States is no longer a partner they can deal with, and they will be pushed back into China's orbit. And that is precisely not what Donald Trump says he wants. He says he wants to go up against China in international trade. So, look, mayhem across the world in the markets. We will see if each of these countries, each of these regions, every world leader around the world wants to get in the room now, get on the phone with Donald Trump to try to convince him to change tack. We know today the Japanese Prime Minister could be one of the first world leaders to do that. Diane?
And Mark, we're seeing the Dow down about 1,600 now. What are you watching for in the markets for the rest of the day?
Well, we'll see how this, markets go up, they go down, they go all around. And I'm sure we're going to see these numbers bounce around all over the place. I think the key is at the end of trading. Let's see what happens. I mean, at the end of Friday, at the end of Thursday, the markets ended on a down note, increased selling. If that happens again today, that's a very bad sign. If the markets stabilize, that'd be a good sign. But, the direction of travel here is pretty clear. Unless this trade war comes to an end pretty soon, we're going to see a lot more red on our screen than green. And we're going to be down more than 20%. We'll be down 25, 30% and in a recession.
All right, Alexis Christoforous, Mark Zandi, Rebecca Jarvis, Whit Johnson, Rachel Scott, and James Longman. Thank you all. And the Trump administration says Medicare and Medicaid will not pay for popular weight loss drugs. The administration's rejecting President Biden's plan that would have required Medicare and Medicaid to cover popular anti-obesity drugs like Wegovy and Zepbound for all seniors. Let's bring in senior national correspondent Terry Moran for more. Terry, Biden's plan was to expand this coverage, but Medicare already covers these weight loss drugs for some seniors. So how will this work going forward?
Well, it will remain that latter part of what you just said. Right now, Medicare, Medicaid, and the Medicare Advantage private insurance plans, they cover these hugely popular weight loss drugs, Wegovy most notably among them, for seniors with heart disease or diabetes or a couple of other conditions, because there's an old law that prohibits Medicare from covering straight weight loss drugs. Now, that it has to be for medical purposes. So the Biden administration said, well, now we know how many other ailments, chronic diseases come from obesity. So obesity is really a disease. Let's cover them. And the Trump administration now has said, no, that's not going to happen. It's very expensive. These drugs cost up to $1,000 a month. The estimate was $35 billion over 10 years, and that was considered low. And so the Trump administration says that's not a good idea. We'll continue providing them for those seniors who need them medically, but we aren't just going to have everybody on weight loss drugs at the government's expense.
Now, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has criticized these drugs, saying the obesity problem in America can be solved by improving Americans' diets and exercise. So what kinds of changes is he proposing instead?
Well, that's his big agenda, isn't it? Make America healthy again. He got a lot of support on this around the country. It helped Trump, no question, that he was out there selling this on behalf of Trump. What that means exactly is somewhat remains to be seen. It'll be food, no question about it. He wants Americans to eat healthier food, less processed food, which really does drive a lot of obesity. All that packaged food, high calorie, high seed oil content that drives obesity. He wants Americans to get exercising again, and he's really harshly criticized these drugs. He says this is always the solution of the drug companies. Have a problem, pop a pill. And he doesn't, or in this case, inject yourself. And he doesn't think that's making America healthy again. He has recently modified his criticisms. He said there's a place for these drugs, but we've got to get to a better diet and more exercise. Diane?
All right, senior national correspondent Terry Moran, thank you. Coming up, another Mexican tourist spot says no to hosting Fire Festival 2. What founder Billy McFarland's saying about the event, plus what happened when our Aaron Katersky bought tickets.
I came with you to be part of something. The Empire cannot win.
Resistance is absurd.
We must stand together, or we will be crushed.
You're right here, and you're ready to fight! Welcome to the rebellion.
Andor Season 2, streaming April 22nd, only on Disney+.
Tell me what you see.
Experience Mufasa the Lion King on Disney+.
Something beautiful awaits you.
I feel it in here.
I'm Tucker. I have a secret, Mufasa. I always wanted a brother.
Can I make one suggestion? Less drama, more meerkat.
It is your time, Mufasa.
Disney's Mufasa the Lion King, now streaming on Disney+. Rated PG.
Welcome back to ABC News Live. First, the founder of Fire Festival 2 is insisting the massive music show will go on despite reports that it doesn't have a home. Mexican officials say the festival won't take place in Playa del Carmen in May. That's the second location to now report that the event would not be happening there. But organizers are still selling tickets online, and the founder says it is going full steam ahead. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky has the latest.
After Mexican officials said Fire Festival 2 was not happening, founder